What about now? Can you hear me now? Is this coming across? Filters, audio input captures. Okay, thank you, Jason. Yep. There's so many little. Got to select this inside of this on, for all those settings. Much appreciated. Thank you. I got you, Jason. And like I said, nice. Like I said, was going to start this new kind of podcast series. Still working on it. Going to work on the setup. Thank you. Like I said, couldn't have done it without you. Much appreciated. I'm going to say I'm just making this video. I'll upload a little bit of it later. I don't have a script. It's mainly just setting up some of the new studio angle. I'm doing some, got some new gear that I'm kind of testing out. I'm going to be moving some stuff around. But all is welcome. This is a community session. I will be on later tonight at 9 to do a bigger kind of thing. And obviously, as the podcast ramps up and I can just sit here and have information and talk about it, it's going to go well. In fact, I need to get the tripod out for the camera here. But yeah, cool. Nope, this is working out. Happy Friday, everybody who joined this little session. I know this is kind of impromptu. I noticed too that my 9 o'clock sessions, people are usually busy, tired, asleep at that point because they're coming from all over the world. So I'm trying to do like a podcast community thing earlier on. If people are around, they want to, hit me up, ask questions, just comment, come on here. I try to release at least 1 or 2 short YouTube clips, what I got going on, what I'm working on. And then I try to only release 1 full-length video every few days now because the algorithm for YouTube just, it really beats me up if I put out too many. And I do have some things to say, so that's why I really created this podcast. At least this is, like I said, this is the pilot episode. I've tried this a few times in the past. I'm going to have to restructure my old videos so they make some sort of coherence because some of these say podcast episode 1. I already have episode 1 or whatever. But I was really these are all just pilot episodes, studio building, setup episodes that I feel that once it does get going and the community knows what time I'm going to be on here and everybody just can kind of come in, chill, hang out, listen to a session or two. I am going to be uploading these later, so if you do miss anything or just can't make it or just want to see what the daily talk was about, you can check it out later. So I'm still fairly new, so I do appreciate all the patience. And like I said, I hope to, at the end of this year, really look back and say, wow, I've made some strong improvements. And I like the direction that it's going. I already do really like the direction that this channel is going. And the community and that kind of stuff. The response has been really great. I really have had a great community come in, contribute here and there when they can. I've had people come in for months and then have to leave out on their own adventures. They're out in the wild doing their own consciousness research. And I love it. I love when people can just spend the time to talk about consciousness. I love talking about smart things during dumb times. And like I said, there's no dumber time I think that a lot of us are living right now than right now with everything with the world, with politics. I don't get into that in my channel. 1, because it irritates me too much, and 2, it moves the focus off of what my channel I try to bring up, and that's consciousness, research, talking about exploration, ebooks, Bentov. Right now I'm working with Bob and Roe and binaural beats. I will be going into more of that gateway process video series, audio series that he has. I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. I know a lot of people have been mentioning it in the community about wanting to talk about that because there is some really out there stuff, fun stuff. But I don't think it's, I think to the common people it would be out there. But for any of us who've had out-of-body experiences or you've ventured into the world of consciousness or I think that any of these things that he mentions aren't that far-fetched when you're talking about these types of realms and worlds. And that's why when I do listen to people on YouTube, other people that have ideas, I do approach it with an open mind, open heart. and I try to listen to what they have to say, because I feel like sometimes people can get misunderstood who have a really, maybe really sound or possible attempt to explain our world or what consciousness is. Maybe they just don't have all the way of explaining it. I know that our language can be archaic sometimes in way of explaining things. And I don't think that we have neither the tools nor the good stuff yet, really, like the understanding and the words to be able to communicate effectively enough. But we're getting there, and that's what I like. But nope, just wanted to do this special channel today. Going to talk a little bit more. If you guys have any questions, put them down there. I am kind of keeping a monitoring eye on that one. Right now, I'm watching my dog right now. I've got to go to work a little bit later. Gonna have lunch in about an hour. I've got my fountain up here. Here in a little while, I'm probably gonna I'll shut down the live show and reset up this to have a background, maybe level out the camera a little bit, and get that really podcast feel going. I think with the right atmosphere, I'm hoping to blend in amongst the other podcasters, so that you have a visual. It doesn't look like just such a drab background here. And we moved into this house. We haven't done a lot of decorating on the inside. I'd like to believe I'm somewhat minimalist as far as my needs and wants. I just don't have a giant need for material things in this world. I get the tools and the things that I need to operate efficiently in this world and do the things that I need to do. But I really try not to hoard or collect items for sentimental reasons. I have sentimental things, don't get me wrong. I've got a great VHS collection that all I have to do is look at, and it really throws me back in good times. So I do appreciate everybody coming today, and it's always nice to see a good turnout. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to come on here and get some things done. But yeah, I did release a couple updated videos, a YouTube short this morning, and one on Bob Monroe on the binaural beats. I'm working on that stuff on this separate from like the podcast and separate from the Bentov meditation that I'm doing. I've got a couple things going on in this channel, and I'm just trying to separate them a little bit. Only because there's a lot of people that come onto the channel and they're really enjoying just the meditation. They have a very limited amount of time. They're just coming on, watching those videos, gaining some knowledge about breath work, relaxation. I've written a few books about that, and a lot of people are enjoying those, and they're coming on here because of those books. I will put links down in the description for all of my books, and I got about 25 out there. I plan on releasing more throughout the summer because I'm really enjoying writing. And it's basically the same stuff that we're talking about here. I do go into more depth about the studies that I do for Pile Advanced Research, and that's into consciousness studies. I got a lot of books on Bentov, and more to come. So if you get a chance, please check it out. Just going and checking out and following the author does help and support the channel here. I get paid absolutely nothing for YouTube. I'm not monetized yet. I hope to be maybe this summer, as long as things kind of stay steady. I might receive something from them, but I'm not counting on that. I have a full-time job. I'm also writing as a full-time job right now. So between that and what I've got going on, I'm pretty full. But I am trying to take on a few more things. So if you guys have projects, you've got your own channel, you want to do a podcast, you want to do something fun, let me know. My email's on my channel. You can reach out to me. If you find something in the consciousness research, you want to share it, let me know. Let me know if you don't want to be mentioned on the channel. Sometimes people send me stuff, and you know, I got you know, people on here that send me great stuff, and I want to mention them and give them credit, but I want to make sure that it's okay. So if you send me an email, let me know that, hey, if you mention it, it's okay that because I probably will mention this if you send me something, because I always like letting people know there's other people in the community that have questions, and there is no strange question on my show. There just isn't. I tackle and I get questions. I get calls in the middle of the night from places you wouldn't even believe that have questions, and I try to answer them the best I can. Now, I did put my phone on mute since then, but I still answer calls, questions, and get back to you as soon as I can. As long as I'm getting my good sleep, because the meditations that I do require good sleep. So that's where I'm at. Said pilot episode. We will be setting up the studio a little bit better. This is my first take at it, and I do appreciate the community showing all that love and support. Jason, I appreciate you coming on here, showing me about the audio and helping working that out. Wanted to give a shout out on that one. And like I said, we'll be back on here when I can. Yeah, I think the studio just needs a little bit of work. I call it the studio because this is what I have to work with. And I see the potential in it. And I see the potential in a lot of you guys out there. I'm hoping you see the potential in me and this channel. A little bit of self-discovery. And I like giving you my honest input on, like right now I'm working on Bob Monroe's binaural beats. I studied him back in the day as part of just my scholastic stuff and my own little bit of personal research. But right now I am doing more of a deep dive. Binaural beats, it just sound that getting you in that 7 hertz theta state. There's a lot more to do with that, and people have their own takes on it. And I'll be discussing that more in the part 2 of the Bob Monroe binaural beats. But so I like I said, the one conflict that I have with, and I'll go into just a little bit here on the podcast with the binaural beats, I'm enjoying listening to it. I feel my vibration levels higher, but there's more energy in there, and there's sometimes more what I would call decoherence. I'm going to use that word, and that's probably not 100% correct, but there's a stillness sometimes in positivity and love and hope. There's a quietness, a restingness of infinity for me, and I feel like when I put headphones on, I feel like sometimes my water fountain, when I get that far in my own meditations, can pull me back into this world. Like if you hear somebody and you're doing your meditations and somebody's knocking at the door or something like that, it breaks you out of your meditation. It breaks you, like if you're sleeping, you're doing prayer, you're doing whatever you're doing in your life. If somebody comes and bothers you, it pulls you back into this world. And that's the best way I can be able to explain my consciousness journey so far. For a lot of people who don't know what I'm talking about, and I have some hardcore scientists who've never seen the other side or had any out-of-body experiences, the best way I've ever gotten a way to get across to those people is I'll tell them, have you ever read a book that you really enjoyed? Something that you're really into? Maybe something that had a story to it or an adventure? You know how you went to sit down in your chair and you went to read the book, and when you sat down in the chair, you could feel the chair, you could feel the arms, you could feel how you were holding the chair, you could feel how your glasses were resting on your eyes. But after a while, when you start getting into that book and you start reading it, you seem to drift into that world a little bit. It's your imagination, a lot of people would say, and there's a lot of to that. But I feel like, and I think that Tom Campbell uses that approach with imagination, with Tom's Park, to really reach those higher levels of consciousness. Because it really is, I feel, at those levels that you do tap into something that hasn't really been discussed a whole lot. It's something that science feels is taboo. It really only has been talked about and discussed in this last, I'd say, few decades. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here. This has been a great show so far. I'm going to reset up the studio. I'll be back on here and there. Click that notification bell. Click that like. Click that subscribe. It'll let you know when I'm on here and have something to say, some update on my research or what I'm working on. Big update if you made it this far. I am going to be releasing 1 or 2 free ebooks on my Amazon Kindle, absolutely free. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be a member of Kindle. You just go on there and download and keep them so you can get a taste of what my writing is like. And for those that have purchased my other books or are reading my books on there, I so appreciate it right now. It's really helped fueling this channel. Like I said, this channel right now is not monetized through YouTube. I do not get paid for any advertisements that you may see on this channel. And I do have a Patreon. I have a go buy me a coffee thing. If you feel so inclined, if you watch this later and you felt something, if this moved you, I'm not asking for anything. The most that I would ask is to click that like and subscribe. Continue to watch the channel. Continue to support my work and help build the community. And always contribute. If you've got something to say, not only do I like to see it, other people like to see it. A lot of people like to contribute onto other people's contributions, and they might have something to kind of add on there. On top of that, when the algorithm sees people discussing things, it likes to present it to other people that may have not seen this was going on. So I do think that there's a big opportunity to introduce people into the world of meditation, into consciousness research, in a very inviting and comfortable way here on this channel. And that's what I'm trying to build. One brick at a time, one person at a time. I'm going to end this channel just by saying this quote. I like to say this one. If I can reach out to one person, whether they watch this video later, they come on to this channel, whatever it might be, they see it, they're enjoying it, they decide to try meditation, they go into a little bit of their own consciousness journey, then this whole thing for me will be worth it. Because I really think there's a lot to be gained with people getting inspired from other people and going on their own cosmic journeys. So I'm going to wrap that up with today. And as always, you guys know what I'm going to say. Have a beautiful and blessed journey. Have a beautiful day. Thanks again, Jason. I appreciate you. Thank you. I see you. We'll be on again here soon. Very soon. Like I said, I just want to set up the studio and get things looking a little bit more professional. Go eat some lunch. I'll be back on. You guys have a beautiful day.